Yeah, press them on and press them off when you need them. Sorry about that. So thank you very much for being here today to the Latino leaders for the enhancement of advocacy and development. I'm so glad that you're able to be with us today. I'd like to welcome you first because during this important month of Hispanic Heritage Month, we try to do several things within our city to celebrate the Hispanic heritage, the strong Hispanic heritage of this community. One of the things that we did recently was to provide a city proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month that our mayor read at a city council meeting. And it goes so much more than just reading this. It's part of the spirit of the community that's often forgotten. So during the National Hispanic Heritage Month, we recognize that Hispanic heritage is American heritage. It permeates every aspect of our communal life, our screens, our music, our books, our commerce, and our dinner tables. And whereas the contributions of Hispanic, Latinos, and those Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America, and South America have been recognized and celebrated nationally and here in Holland during National Hispanic Heritage Month for over 50 years. And whereas the 2020 census reports that Michigan has an estimated 525,972 Hispanic population. The city of Holland is home to the second largest Hispanic population in the state. Our Hispanic and Latino brothers and sisters, friends, neighbors, and coworkers currently make up nearly 24.3% of our local community and 18.5% of our American population. And whereas we benefit from the many contributions of Hispanic healthcare professionals, educators, agricultural workers, community leaders, factory workers, pastors, business owners, public service workers, service industry personnel, volunteers, and private citizens. And whereas as far back as the American revolutions, Latinos in the United States have courageously served in our military and American war efforts. And whereas more than 18 members of the Hispanic community currently serve on our city boards and commissions, volunteering to help shape the future of Holland. And whereas Latin Americans United for Progress, LAUP, a driving force for change in the Holland community since 1984, is highlighted by the Holland Museum exhibition United for Progress, the LAUP story, now through January 17, 2022. And whereas the City of Holland joins other communities across the nation in honoring the many ways the Hispanic community contributes to our common goals in working together toward a stronger and more inclusive future and a more prosperous American for all. And whereas we encourage everyone to explore our city's Hispanic heritage by participating in Hispanic festivals, celebrations, reading Hispanic authors, viewing Latinx films during our dining at our Hispanic-owned restaurants, and shopping at Hispanic-owned businesses, not just during the Hispanic Heritage Month, but throughout the year. I am reading this on behalf of our mayor, so I am going to read this as if Mayor Box was saying it. Now, therefore, I, Nathan Box, Mayor of the City of Holland, and members of the Holland City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th and October 15th, 2021, Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Holland, and encourage residents to participate in Hispanic Heritage Month programming throughout our city. I encourage our residents to share in this annual tribute by learning and celebrating the generations of Hispanic and Latino Americans who have influenced and enriched our community. This was given by our Mayor Box this week at our City Council meeting. So I just wanted to share it with you before we begin, because traditionally we like to have our regional event here in Holland during Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm going to hand over the podium to our Executive Director, Al Flores.
Thank you, Esther. I'm going to call the meeting to order of LEAD. It's Latino Leaders for the Enhancement of Advocacy and Development. Good morning, buenos días. Thank you for having us here in your beautiful city of Holland. I'm the president of LEAD Michigan and executive director also. We have the board of directors, which are the people that are here right now, and there's 2 on their way. They got caught in traffic. But Esther Falfiski, Holland, Diana Rivera, Okamos, Leroy Hernandez, Holland, Laura Gonzalez, Mount Pleasant, myself from the St. John's area close to Lansing, Tim Moriquin, Holland, and Guillermo Lopez, Lansing. We also have 4 chapters in the state of Michigan, which is Holland, Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Saginaw, and working on establishing other chapters in the state of Michigan. At this point, I'd just like to take a moment to say that LEAD Michigan extends its heartfelt condolences to the family of Isabela Soto following her untimely death this past week, last Friday. It was an auto accident. She's a little girl, actually. So with that, I'll jump into LEAD. LEAD is a statewide Latino organization established in 2013. We're relatively new. Someday, we dream of having the forces like the NAACPs or ADLs of the world and beyond, okay? We advocate for Latinos in the state. We try to develop processes where we can better the lives of Latinos in the state. Speaking with one voice in terms of Latinos when we need that on the state level could be a powerful thing. Imagine that. Being around the table, the big round table where the decisions are made, the ones that are going to take us into the future and our children into the future. That's important, and that's what LEAD is all about, okay? The agenda today, right now we're going to have a quick LEAD board meeting, as quick as we can, because we want to start public comments right at 11, and after that, we invite you to stay for some taquitos so we can talk afterwards and meet each other and so on. So with that, I will start the agenda. Approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I move. Support.
Diana moves.
Support.
Esther supports. Any comments? Okay. All A's?
Aye.
All nays? Passed. Okay, approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I move.
Diana moves. Support?
Support.
Leroy supports. Any discussion? And I thank Laura Gonzalez, our secretary, for doing the minutes, very important. All A's?
Aye.
All nays? Thank you. Passed. The first item on the agenda, Finance Committee. Leroy, our treasurer.
Okay, you guys have the report in front of you. It's part of the package. It's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, please let me know or ask them. Okay, so I guess we make a motion to accept.
Yeah. Do I hear a motion to accept the report?
I move to receive the report.
Sorry.
To receive the report. To receive.
Oh, you don't have a, yeah.
Yeah, it's to receive. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I move to receive, but I'd like to just mention that after our first annual golf outing,
Okay.
hopefully it'll grow next year,
Yeah.
and it's noted. So congratulations, Leroy.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for helping, because I was just telling Laura earlier that when you're throwing an event like this, it gets stressful. So even just looking at a face is helpful.
I know.
But but this just proves an example that we know it's going to be a small one. It's a seed that we can have at different parts of the state, or I'm glad to have it here all the time. But with minimal effort, it was a successful little outing, you know. And if we, in time, if we focus on it over a year time, we can make it big. I had a local guy, his name is Felipe Ramirez. He knows some baseball players from the Detroit World Championship. We're talking, he goes, if you guys want to make this huge and big, he can make it big. And he could, and I've had those guys over for golf outings too before the Detroit. When we used to do them at La Hoop, from the world champion Detroit Tigers. But we can get those guys anytime because he knows them personally. If we want to grow it, we can do it. And but it's going to take a village. You know, like I said, this one was just minimal effort, and we made a few grand. You know, but if we put our effort into it, we can make a lot of money. Yeah. And just want to remind everybody too that the reason we raise funds is not just for ourselves, but to statewide organizations, especially Hispanic organizations. My vision is that we can help with some of these monies, you know, local Hispanic organizations and around the state. So, you know, we had about 20, 30 golfers. It was fun. We had a great time. Thanks, Tim, for golfing out, you too. And Diana for your recruitment, Esther for your support, and Laura too. So, and your husband. Thanks.
It was a good day. It was beautiful. I didn't golf the best, but it was fun, good weather, everything.
And thank you to the sponsors.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I move to accept the report.
Support.
Support? Any discussion on that? Questions or for Leroy? Okay. All ayes?
Aye.
Ace.
Nays? Thank you. Passed. All right. The next item on the agenda is the Structural Committee. Laura Gonzalez.
Yes, the structural committee met since our last meeting, and we continue to work on our list of board membership and also our terms of succession, how long we will be in, and our election dates, et cetera. That consists of Al Flores and Diana Rivera on the committee, and we are also working on a list to have involvement from board members afterwards, be they advisors or a brain trust list of people. And so we're always looking for people who are willing to serve as important volunteers, who can serve to help and assist LEAD. And some people's talents are in fundraising, some in writing, some in grant seeking, some in community development, et cetera. So we're continuing to work on that, and a friendly reminder to our members that if you no longer wish to be in this capacity, to consider to let us know, the board members. This is something we're making sure to have you think about, and because we understand all of your hard work, et cetera. So. And you can still continue to submit names and your bio information of people to myself for the structural committee. So.
All set, Laura?
Yes.
Okay, thank you,
Sorry.
Laura. No, we're good. You know, one of the things that Laura spoke about is the emeritus committee. You know, after a board member's term is up, that we keep them on in other capacities as advisors or you know, working on committees and that sort of thing. It's very important. After this meeting, we're going to meet in another room just to discuss that. Okay. Laura has been working very hard on the committee, and there's a lot under the structural committee, if you can imagine. Now we go to the Public Relations Committee. Diana Rivera.
Okay, thank you. The Public Relation Committee, it consists of 4 members, 4 board members. And one of those members is actually a Grand Rapids chapter member. And the work that we are charged with is trying to get information out about LEAD and its activities. This year we were pretty lucky in getting a couple of interns to work different areas of work for public relations. We have a Twitter feed, we have a Facebook page, and of course our mainstay is the LLEAD .org webpage. On each, we try and, or especially on the web page, we try and get news out that deals with Michigan. It extends into regional and national at times, just because of our connection to region and to nation. One of the things that has been, I would say, hindering us a bit has been the platform that the web page is on, and we're working on getting content ready to transport from a Drupal platform to something maybe like WordPress. The Public Relations Committee also had been talking about a directory, a statewide directory, that we would be able to have online as well, possibly in print. So in particular for Ottawa County, for Holland, for Western Michigan, for those who have access to names of businesses, agencies, organizations, artists, in whatever part of art, we ask that you submit the names and contact information to leadmichigan@gmail.com. That would be leadmichigan@gmail.com. We have a very active intern who is working on that, sending out requests for information and kind of scouring local sources to see what is out there for us. And we find a lot of restaurants, which is good, right? So at least the business, the restaurant business is still thriving, whether it be taco trucks or bricks and mortar places. And basically, that's it.
Thank you, Diana. Our next item on the agenda, and before I go to the next item, I'd just like to introduce Bobby De Leon from Saginaw, a board member of LLEAD, and Gilbert Guevara, also from Saginaw. These two gentlemen have been on the LLEAD board since it started, so thank you. We go on to the Legislative Committee of LLEAD, and the chair of it is Gilbert Guevara, and I'll pass it over, Gil.
Okay, it's green. That means go. All right, first of all, thank you, and I don't want to apologize for being late. We're late. We have tons of reasons why we're late, but we're late. So nevertheless, we did schedule some time ago to meet with Senator Gary Peters and his staff to talk about Latino issues in the state of Michigan. And in order to do that, we had to bring together members from our community, I mean the state of Michigan, to talk about what are the issues in our state. We brought together about, I believe it was 28 people from different parts of the state, and we had this Zoom meeting to discuss issues. And then from that, excuse me, we had to come up with what we felt were priorities. When we did sit down with the legislative aides of Senator Gary Peters to say this is what our community in the state of Michigan is asking that his office take a look at and how we could move on these topics. After that meeting, yeah, we had a little difficulty getting a hold of the staff and doing an actual meeting on Zoom. But we managed to do that anyways. We met with 3 of his legislative aides. And when I say we, it was the it was the legislative committee that met. Myself, Bobby de Leon, our president, El Flores, our secretary, Dr. Laura Gonzalez, and also Juan Marines. As we spoke to them, we talked about what we thought were the main issues that the community of Michigan relayed to us. And some of the items that came up were the effects of COVID among the Latino community. Is it something that has been feasible for this community to get these things done, get their shots? Was it convincing enough for them to get these shots? Was it convincing enough in Spanish to get these shots? How do we get folks to cooperate and get their shots? That was one of the items. The other item was immigration. As we know, we have DACA students in the state of Michigan since in its inception when President Obama initiated this executive order that youngsters at a certain age, at a certain date and time, were eligible to apply for DACA. And at that time, it was 15 to 30 years of age. Of course, there was a date that they had to meet. So children in Michigan that met that requirement in terms of the date, I can't recall the date offhand, but within that age range of 15 to 30, were eligible to apply for DACA. Okay. They applied. In the time that they applied, the fee went up twice on them. The fee now is $495 every 2 years. Okay, so we look at DACA and we say to ourselves, where are these young people today? Many of them got married, have U.S.-born children. Many of them have gone on to college. Many of them have graduated from college. Many of them have gone on to advanced degrees. And many of them are working and paying federal taxes, to include state and maybe local taxes. So we have to say to ourselves, what kind of relief do we give these individuals? They're doing everything a U.S. citizen does. They're not criminals, because that's part of the application. There are probably about 7 questions that deal with criminal activities that they have to answer. So they're not criminals. So where are our DACA students? To include the undocumented that have been here before DACA, that are still working in the shadows, that are still working, paying taxes. Many of them have what they call the I-10 number. If you're familiar with the I-10 number, you will be taxed under the I-10 number. You'll be taxed federally. So we have to look at those folks as well. That was another topic that we had discussion about. Oh, hi there. Then we looked at as well as education. Where are our children educationally? Are they receiving the kind of education that all other children are receiving? Do they have the computers that most kids may have or may not have? Are they able to communicate with their teachers through these computers from home, especially during COVID? So those are the kinds of questions we had in regards to education. And one of the concerns that came out that we forgot to mention to his staff is, when do we look at a Latino or Latina becoming a federal judge in our state of Michigan? When was the last time we had one? Concern of ours. I'm going to also ask the committee members that were on the Zoom with me to also make comments. I'll start with Bobby.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here in Holland, Michigan to present ourselves as LEAD. We also talked about our business people, our people that are out in the community that are struggling to keep their businesses open. So in between the idea of the state and federal is a big, completely different course that we're going to be talking to people like Senator Peters and Senator Stabenow, along with Congressman Kildee, of all these actually grants that are coming into the state. How are we involved in getting some of this information into our community ASAP? So again, Chair, I have a lot of work to do with Senator Peters yet to still meet with him as soon as possible, and again, get things rolling.
Thank you, Legislative Committee. Thank you. Besides the committee meeting with Senator Peters' senior staff, we're going to have experts in areas, for example, in immigration or Latino small business and so on, experts to present to his staff. Okay, and we agreed on that at the meeting that we had. They also agreed that maybe we can have Senator Stabenow's staff and Peter's staff at the same time, so we don't have to do it over again. But that's where we're at, and it's a lot of work, but we're moving. Okay. Anything else? Any questions for Gilbert? No?
I just thought maybe I'd give Laura a chance to speak to it, because she was present as well.
Thank you. I'm a new member of the Legislative Committee, but have a high interest in that because legislators set policy and can impact many, many lives. And so I strongly just want to say thanks for letting me join the committee, but also for the important fact that every voice sitting in this room counts, and that if you can, please vote, and to make sure that all of our legislators in our state of Michigan are supposed to represent all of us. So we just want to make sure to ensure that and to highlight that Latinos are here, and we've been here, and we're here to stay.
Thank you, Laura. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if, like, what the reaction or response has been from any Republican senator that's been invited, or the rep has been invited. What's their response to us, to invitations?
Yeah, I just believe at this particular meeting with those senior legislative aides on behalf of Senator Peters, we're more listeners than coming up with what do we do next, or this is what I feel. I don't recall them saying that this is my responsibility. So we had 3 of them there. I don't recall them, either one, saying this is what I do for Senator Peters. I think they listened. I believe they are going to get that message to Senator Peters and hopefully to join and get Senator Debbie Stabenow to also be a part of this conversation. I think my opinion is that they were listeners to what we had to say to them. And then for me to expect them to respond, I really didn't expect it. And I don't recall them saying anything in regards to our topics that were presented to them at that particular session.
Okay, I'm sorry, my question was the invitations, or any invitations to senators or people from the state who happen to be Republican, are they responding to us?
Diana, the meeting with Senator Peters was the first, but we're going to try to tackle the 2 U.S. senators and then Congress people. And when we get to the Congress people, we will involve Republican and Democrat, but we haven't gotten that far.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. The Internship Development Committee, Indiana Rivera is the chair of it. She's gonna speak on it, but one of the reasons that we're working with interns is because we're volunteers, okay? We're doing work voluntarily on a state level. So Diana is working with Michigan State University, Central Michigan, University of Michigan, to try to tackle some of the projects that we have going. One of them, for example, is to research or analyze the 2020 census data, and how do you say, crunch it down into usable information for us, for organizations, for everybody to use, for Latinos to use to move forward with that. But that's just one example of projects that we have going that interns can assist on. Diana?
Okay, thank you, Al. We started looking into interns almost like 4 or 5 years ago, where we were able to work with a U of M grad student. There was this a lag in us trying to get additional interns, only because we hadn't really identified clearly the projects that we wanted to be involved in. With this year, there were 2 universities that we contacted, Michigan State University and U of M. Michigan State University, we're working with undergraduates who are working again with the directory, and the second intern working with our social media. That, of course, feeds into what the PR committee does, as well as other committees. But we're also trying to reach out to, like, U of M, who are providing interns at a higher level, at the graduate school level, for things that, like Al says, might be able to address things like number crunching on census and other demographics. That is a little bit slower in coming, just because it's a year-long project for them rather than, or a year-long class for them rather than a semester project like at MSU. We are interested, though. We have been able to identify the types of requirements that schools like Grand Valley State University and Central Michigan have for their students to be part of an internship program with LEAD. LEAD takes the responsibility of being the trainer, the supervisor, academician at some point, and being able to participate in the grading of the student, or at least submitting our assessment of the work that's done. One of the things that we want to do as part of the internship committee is to create buy-in, not just by the universities, but also by the students themselves, letting them know that it's not really an easy assignment. For instance, our intern who's working on the directory, one of the buy-ins that we have provided for her is to have her be able to have her name as a researcher or compiler or aggregator of information that provides not only them something to hang on to or to present when applying for jobs, but also I think it gives them an incentive to work and provide content that is accurate and usable, because after all, their name's going to be on it. So we want to have interns who are skilled in certain areas or the areas that we need, and be an active member of the work that we do. These interns know that we want them to be members of LEAD. They have eagerly actually agreed to be members of LEAD, so that's very rewarding for us as well. Our interns are not just Latinos. Our interns are everything, and it's great to have a young student who from rural Michigan who's not Latina, but is encouraged and is excited to be a member of LEAD. That's the type of excitement that we want to do with internships. And hopefully we'll be getting to other universities. And the board members all provide, depending on the project, will be providing co-sponsorship, for these projects. Esther Fefelsky is a co-supervisor, and so is Dr. Gonzalez. So it's work that's well worth doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Yes.
May I,
Mhm.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about Gabe, our first
Mm.
intern who worked on a training, to develop a training program for community engagement, to engage in community government or just engage in community in general. Very pleased with the outcome of his work. We will be using that training module. It was a template from the city of Holland, but we've expanded it, and it will be used at our convention that we will have later on in the year. And I just wanted to say that to kind of provide a prelude to that conversation. If you could talk a little bit about that, Al, when that will be held, and make sure that we talk about it.
Yeah, we don't have a date yet, because it might be virtual versus in person in Lansing. Every year up to COVID, we had our annual statewide conference at the Lansing Center or other places in Lansing. But with COVID, that just threw us off, so we're still working on that. But thank you, Esther.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was just thinking too, like, you might want to mention that this is every other year,
Mhm.
then the alternate year is for a statewide training.
Training, yeah, yes.
On different issues.
Mhm. Yes. One of the things that I'd like to mention was well, first of all, to back up in terms of when I started talking about LEAD, I mentioned, being around the table, having a voice, being able to have that power for Latinos on a statewide basis to do things. And on July 27th this year, at a home in the Lansing area, we invited and he agreed, the Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist at a gathering to meet with LEAD and Latinos from throughout the state. We had 52 people there, Latinos, non-Latinos, but they were from 15 different cities in the state of Michigan, okay? I mean, cities like Holland, Imlay City, you name it, okay? But the function went very well. He spoke. One of the things, the questions he was asked three times was, when are we going to get Latinos on the state level at high levels? With the state of Michigan, either directors or whatever in the governor's office and so on. And I'd like to think that that the lieutenant governor, with the governor, took it to heart, and that LEAD and Latinos that showed up that day had something to do with some appointments that just happened on September 30th, like a week ago or whatever. Julia Dale, fíjense, was appointed by the governor as the Director of Department of Technology, Management, and Budget. We've known it as Management and Budget. She is Latina, okay, Julia Dale. Check it out, Google her, okay? Papi Hernandez, you guys might know her because she's from Muskegon, okay? She was appointed Executive Director of Global Michigan, all right? Maria Martinez, Chief Compliance Officer for the state of Michigan. I mean, that is high and it's powerful. All three, actually, appointments. So she announced these three ladies on September 30th, that she had appointed them. I just, if you all can imagine, if there are other statewide Latino organizations in the state of Michigan, because we want to work with everybody. We have a lady here in the room, Isabela Montemayor, who is a new appointed director of the Hispanic Latino Commission of Michigan, and she's going to talk to us a little bit during public comment. One of the things that I'd like to see is that we support her in her future endeavors, and that we work with her. Okay, she wants to meet people here, and she's meeting people from throughout the state. As a matter of fact, LEAD is having a reception for her in Lansing. Hopefully it's going to be on the 28th of this month of October. But everyone is invited. We'll send emails out and so on. So hopefully Holland will embrace her as other communities are going to. So thank you. With that, we're going to start the public comment portion of our meeting, and Esther is going to moderate it. So Esther, you're on.
Okay, so let me just move the camera here. And what I'm going to ask each presenter is to state your name, the mission of your organization, and then talk a little bit about the landscape of what you're seeing within the Latino community, and also inform the board of opportunities, barriers, anything that we need to know as we do our work throughout the state. So thank you so much for being here. I'll go first.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. As Al said, my name is Isabel Montemayor. I am the Executive Director of the Hispanic Latino Commission. The Hispanic Latino Commission of Michigan was established in 1975. It's been around for a while. It's directly falls within kind of government, right? So the commission strives to market the state's career development services to Michigan Hispanics and encourage initiatives to reduce the high school dropout rate of Hispanic youth and facilitate efforts to increase the enrollment of Hispanics in post-secondary education and technical training programs. It's a 15-member commission. They're all appointed by the governor upon the advice and consent of the Senate here in the state of Michigan. And the commission reports to the governor and to the state legislature regarding pertinent and pressing issues relevant to the Hispanic or Latino community across the state. So many of the same concerns, much of the same agenda that LEAD has, we also have. I met with Al, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? Tuesday. And some members of the commission, and Al's most definitely familiar with the commission. He served as a commissioner. And we are very excited to continue partnerships with LEAD. As you mentioned, as Diana mentioned as well, there is an internship opportunity to have an intern, I believe, from the University of Michigan, assess the 2020 census. That would be a project that we would be working and collaborating with you all on. I would primarily be overseeing the project, and the information that is produced, hopefully an interactive map that people will have access to through our website, will be live and up to date, and something that we can continue to revisit every time the census is updated as well, so that people can really make sense of that data and make sense of that information, and so that it can be meaningful to the community, right, across the state. I just have a couple things that I want to mention. So on the 14th of October, we have our annual Hispanic Heritage Month event. It's a virtual event this year. Annually, it's a gala. It's a large event in person, but because of COVID, it's going to be virtual. And the link will be posted on our website, and it will also be posted on our social media. We give awards to different leaders throughout the community. Many of those leaders are people that you all know, people that you all have nominated. So there's a lot of overlap, and we hope that you take the time to join us virtually for that event. And then on the 15th, the next day, we have our commission meeting. So at 6 p.m., and it's going to be in Bay City. Similar to these meetings, they're open to the public. We welcome public comment. We welcome representatives from LEAD to join us at our monthly meetings. As we look forward to working with you, we understand and we know the impact that Latinos have, not only in the state of Michigan, but across the United States. Within the next 20 years, just for example, Latinos are going to make up the largest portion of homeowners in the state of Michigan and across the United States. So their impact economically, their impact in all facets of the state of Michigan is extremely important. And I think that these are the things that we can get across to different representatives to really push our agenda, and so that they understand that we can't be overlooked. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be around afterwards to share my contact information with all of you. I'm originally from Michigan, but for the last 6 years I've been living in Texas. I grew up, was raised in Lansing, went to school with Guillermo's daughters, so you know, part of the community. It's just a pleasure to be back here. It's a pleasure to work with all of you and you know, see these initiatives, these projects come to fruition. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Montemayor.
The next person can come up and do the same. Ask our commission to hold your questions until the end. So go ahead, Johnny.
Hello, mucho gusto. I look forward to meeting you guys. Thank you for being here. My name is Johnny Rodriguez, yes, like the old country singer. But I'm the new executive director for LAUP, Latin Americans United for Progress here in Holland. And I know it has a rich history that many of you have been a part of. So very excited for this opportunity, honored and humbled to be able to lead this organization. And you know, we're definitely going to honor and respect all those that laid the foundation with LAUP to get us to where we're at. I have Yara Ramirez with me today. She's our programs director, and she'll come up to share a little bit more about her programs as I'm still getting accustomed to this role and then learning and crafting the vision for LAUP going forward. So our mission is to empower Latinos to contribute to the community, to participate in a better community for all through advocacy, through education and celebration. So that is our mission. And to your point of how do we get more Latinos in leadership positions, and as she mentioned, we're a growing population, right? And we have a lot of power. So as I craft a vision, I continue to come to inspire. How do we inspire the adult population, which we work with, doing citizenship, GED, ESL, but also how do we inspire the youth in our community to you know, see other Latino leaders like yourselves, like ourselves, and say, I want to do that, I want to be a part of that. How do we equip them? And through our programs, Yada's going to share more about that, of ways we do that now, and how do we do that going forward? And then how do we empower them, give them opportunities to learn, opportunities for experiences, to be leaders in our community. So thank you very much for being here again. I look forward to learning more about you. I'm from Holland, and another reason why I'm excited about being a part of LAUP is I'm a product of the nonprofits in the Holland area. My parents were migrant workers, lived here at the City Mission to start, and grew from there, and continued my involvement with LAUP, Boys and Girls Club, and other nonprofits in the area. So I thank you again, and I'll have Yada come up and speak a little bit more about our programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Hello, can everybody hear me all right? I'm going to try to speak with my mask on. So as Johnny mentioned, my name is Yara Ramirez. I am the Programs Director of LAUP. And for individuals who might not be familiar with LAUP, I did just want to briefly share a bit about the programs and services that we offer and the work that we've been doing since the pandemic that ensued in 2020 with COVID-19. So, as Johnny mentioned, our mission is to empower Latinos to create a better community for all through advocacy, celebration, and education. And we do that by offering educational programming for adults and youth. So for our adults, we have a GED program that is taught in Spanish. We partner with Zealand Adult Education to be able to offer the GED program in English, and then we specifically teach it in Spanish, so that way language is not a barrier for individuals to obtain a higher education and to be able to obtain a higher wage at their workplace. We also have a citizenship preparation program, which we partner with Lighthouse Immigrant Advocates, a local law agency, to be able to provide assistance in filling out the N-400 application and also answer any legal questions they have pertaining to the citizenship process. For our youth education programs, we have our Adelante and Más Adelante programming, and the curriculum is designed for students in the 9th through 12th grades to be considered from low-income households, first-generation college students, and underrepresented in post-secondary education. These youth programs have two main goals. We want to increase the rate at which students enroll in a post-secondary institution, and for students to develop into well-rounded individuals and engaged citizens in their local and global communities. Though the majority of individuals we serve reside in the Holland, Zealand area, we also serve individuals who live in Hamilton, Fenville, Saugatuck, West Olive, Hudsonville, Grand Haven, Grand Rapids, and beyond. Actually, in the pandemic, when we went virtual, we even serviced individuals as far as Houston, Texas, because a lot of areas over there were just completely shut down, and there was a need for, especially for DACA students, to be able to still meet with somebody to complete financial aid and other kind of scholarship opportunities. And so leading into that then, we do offer services apart from our educational programming. These are form assistance services, document translation services, interpretation services, and general college advising, as I mentioned in that particular example with financial aid assistance with college students. I'd like to take a moment to briefly share next the work that LLEAD did in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic forced many places of businesses to shut down, and that caused many families to struggle financially. For those individuals who qualified for government aid, the stimulus checks and unemployment benefits brought some relief. However, that wasn't the case for individuals who were undocumented. Thanks to the generosity of the Greater Ottawa County United Way, the Ottawa Cares Fund, and private donors, LLEAD distributed $12,125 in relief funds to 21 families. 3 of those families received assistance twice because of continued need. It's important to mention that all of the 21 families reported that they were living undocumented in the United States. 17 were from the Holland area, and 11 of them were single-family homes, with having the mother as the head of household. Without the assistance that LLEAD distributed, 19 of those families would have lost their home or would have had their utilities shut off. I'd like to share a statement from a COVID relief recipient to show the impact that the pandemic had on our community. She stated, "The COVID-19 funds helped keep my electricity on, and part of the funding also went to keep my gas on. I know it sounds like just minor utilities, but trust me. When both adults are undocumented and have no way to claim unemployment, any help makes a difference. And just to know that I can pay for basic needs such as electricity and gas helped me know that my family was going to have their basic needs met. A big thank you to the person that helped make that possible. It's still very hard as our jobs are not back to normal and we are not sure what the future holds for us or the rest of the people affected by the virus." Even till this day, we still see the effects of the COVID-19 virus, and LLEAD continues to partner in the community and countywide initiatives to help with efforts to meet the basic needs of individuals in our community, as well as increase vaccination rates. We've been able to do some work with the Migrant Resource Council, as well as the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance and the Department of Public Health of Ottawa County, specifically for vaccination rate efforts. And so, on that note, to lead into barriers or what can be done to help support this work, we're always looking to expand resources to help the community. So when our COVID-19 relief funds were exhausted, we were able to partner with Good Samaritan Ministries, another local area nonprofit, to continue to identify individuals who needed to meet their basic needs, and be able to have Good Samaritan Ministry funds be used to help support those individuals. So we're almost looking to have a directory kind of in the sort of you all been speaking about that would include, again, just a plethora of organizations and resources in our area that might have boundary lines. Of course, I mentioned we service a lot of different individuals, and hopefully the directory would also include organizations, resources that don't have those boundary lines. So that way we can refer individuals so they can get the most immediate assistance that they might need. The other biggest thing is always volunteer support. So I didn't mention this, but even in 2020 with the census efforts, we were able to make 300 plus phone calls and have those individuals that we called actually complete the census through volunteer support. So for since March 2020, I've actually been the only full staff until Johnny has now joined. And so a lot of the work that we do can't be done without volunteer support. LLEAD is a small organization, but we are so passionate about meeting the needs of our community. And we can do that, we can be stronger together. So with that, I will conclude my statement. Thank you for your time.
Will the next organization come up to the podium who's interested in providing public comment? State your name, the name of your organization, your mission, and I do have a presentation for Migrant Resource Council that I will bring up.
Do we need to turn the?
You don't need, I'll get it started.
Okay. Hello, my name's Deanna De Santiago. I'm co-chair of the Allegan Ottawa Berry Migrant Resource Council.
Good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Cristian Garcia, and I work along Deanna as co-chair for the Allegan Berry Ottawa Resource Council.
So we just thank you guys for letting us talk today a little bit about what the council is. Many of you may know. I know Al's been on the Interagency Migrant Resource Council, and
So yeah, I've been working alongside Deanna for a couple of years. I've done a couple of work as well at the Southwestern Michigan Migrant Resource Council. So the mission of the council is to improve the quality of life of migrant and seasonal farm workers. We come together as a group each month with different service providers in the region who are committed to provide assistance to migrant and seasonal farm workers in the county of service. We have members that join us from public agencies, also from private agencies, public agencies, private agencies, growers, farm workers, and community citizens. The objective is to come together and be able to refer different opportunities for assistance, also be able to collaborate as a council to provide different events to be able to assist the families that are in need in the region. In the state of Michigan, there's 9 regions, and there's also 9 resource councils that serve our migrant families that come to Michigan each year. We, as a committee, meet monthly. We meet the 4th Thursday of the month, January through October. Unfortunately, The past year has been a little different, and we have been only been allowed to meet through Zoom and through Teams. But we've had really good response with the committees and the organizations coming together and being able to continue to assist the families throughout their stay in West Michigan.
I just want to give one example of how we are able to network together. 3 or 4 years ago, there was a young girl who had been in a car accident in her teens, and she was in the same wheelchair in her 20s as she was in her teens. Well, when we had gone out, I'm also work at the Department of Health and Human Services and have a migrant outreach team, and as we were out in the camps, we encountered this young lady and had noticed, she had talked about how, you know, she doesn't fit it as well, and she was having sores and different things. So my staff, within hours, we got on we have an email MRC website. We got on that website, we sent out emails. Within hours, we had a response, and that week she received I think it was a used, but a nice wheelchair, and we were able to give her adult diapers. So just by having our connections with all the different agencies and businesses, we were able to meet that need that, you know, no other agency was able to fill, but coming together, we were able to meet that need.
Yeah, and then that talks about the great, council that we have built in the coordinating of services. We tried to not duplicate in terms of referrals, and just establishing that network to make sure that we are providing the assistance to our agriculture working families and children. We've done a lot of work with health centers, health departments in the county, and also schools, legal services, and the DHHS staff who do an extraordinary job throughout the year as farm workers leave. Some stay through the season, and they continue to provide those services to them.
So I wish the PowerPoint was up, but pictures
Sorry.
speak 1,000 words, and we had put some pictures of our different events. We've had some great events over the years. The council has existed, I believe, since 1978, that the migrant resource councils, I believe, were commissioned by Governor Milliken, if I'm having the right data. But so just a few going back pre-COVID. 2019 was a great year for us. We had 3 different events. We had, because we service Allegan, Ottawa, Barrie, unfortunately, we're still working on. We don't have many representatives from Barrie, but for Allegan, we partnered and we did an event in Pullman. It was called Tu Eres Familia, and we partnered with the Fenville Migrant Summer School and the Saugatuck Council of Arts. And the children made art projects, and then we displayed them in the park in Fenville. And we opened it to community, and we had a great turnout. Christian's in a band, his band played. We had food, music. We had our agency tables all there, so anyone who wanted to come and give out their information. I think we had over 300 people, and it was a great event. We had pictures, but they're not coming up. Also that same year, we, as a council, did a carnival in the camp. So we went to Pine Acres Camp, that's in Holland, Ottawa County, and it was so great. The kids loved it. We had Holland PD there with their patrol. They give out ice cream, Polar Patrol. We had fire departments there that actually hooked up to the hydrant. They were testing it, and the kids got to run in the water. We had all kinds of agencies. We had Gentex Corporation actually partnered and provided hot dogs and actually served them to the kids, and just had lots of great collaboration. We are a nonprofit, so every year we are looking to collaborate with agencies and businesses to help us provide these events. And then that same year, we were able to be part of the first annual Grand Haven Hispanic Heritage Fiesta in Grand Haven. We volunteered, and Christian was on that board and helped plan. And because of that also, we were able to receive a cash donation from the donations of that event. So that was a wonderful opportunity. We received some money to do future events. COVID came along. So we obviously couldn't plan and do events like we wanted, but we did receive a grant, like, I believe, Loup did, from the Grand Haven, Holland, Zealand Community Foundation along with United Way to provide PPE kits to our migrant farmers, seasonal farm workers. So we were able to purchase some bags, sanitizer, masks, different things to put in the bags. We gave out information about COVID, signs. We had a little wallet card made they could carry with them to know what the symptoms of COVID was and where to go in the community if they needed testing. So we were able to distribute around 1,500 PPE kit bags to different migrants in the area in Ottawa and Allegan, or that was just Ottawa. And then lastly, this year we've done vaccine events. We've done 3 different vaccine events. We did one in Pullman, that was Allegan County. We partnered with some, a place called the Linking Center. They had a big food distribution, and that was also open to community, although we did go out to different camps to really try and make sure our migrants came to the event to get vaccinated. Intercare was our administrator of the vaccine for all 3 of our vaccine events. In July, we partnered with Hope Reformed Church in Grand Haven and had another vaccine event for our migrant families. We had a food truck for that also, and Spoke out of Holland provided some gift cards for anyone who got vaccinated. And then our last event we did was in Conklin in the northeast part of Ottawa County. It's where a lot of our apple growers are at up there. And so once again, we had some food given from some local growers up there that we were able to pass out. But like I said, we have great partnerships, but we're always looking for more to collaborate and do work. We also participated with the health department this year. They did a migrant health survey that hasn't been done for 20 years, so we're real excited to see the results of that survey. I know Loup was part of that, and basically giving the survey, and the migrant farm workers would receive a $20 or $30 gift card. So as part of the council, we helped distribute that survey. And like I said, really looking forward to the results of that survey.
And we appreciate the opportunity that we were given to present today. Like Deanna mentions, we are always looking to collaborate with different service providers in the area, always looking for grants and funding to provide, you know, the events that we organize for the families. We are very strategic in terms of how we handle our funds and how we're going to use it to best serve our agriculture working families. So we continue to prepare for the next year, and we have a lot of good plans coming up, and we're looking forward to continue being involved in the community, and also we're really excited for our families to come each year and be in our area and continue the partnerships.
Thank you. Thank you. You do a lot of good work as Loup does. Thank you very much.
Will the next organization please come to the podium, state your name, the name of your organization, and your mission, and then tell us a little bit about the landscape that you see for the Latino community here locally, and also any barriers that you are facing in the community.
Gracias. ¿Qué tal?
¿Qué tal?
Hi, how are you? My name is Angel Lopez. I'm a pastor of the Third from Church here in Pine and 13 or 12. So we're in the corner. I bring you a story that I hope you listen. And this story is repeating almost every day in Holland, Michigan. I was born in Mexico, in Chiapas, near to Guatemala, like 2 hours from Guatemala. I'm a Mayan, I'm indigenous, I'm a Christian, I'm a Mexican in that sense. And when I arrived here, I an undocumented. I am Mexican, and those are the good things. Sometimes they say other things that are not very nice, but this is my other identity here in Holland. And I immigrated to Holland, Michigan in 2011. I've been married with my wife, who is Canadian American, for about 18 years. I have become a U.S. citizen 2.5 years ago. Even though this is the idea that you marry to another a U.S. citizen, you will get a citizenship, and you will get your IDs, you will get everything by doing that. That's not true in my life. That's not true in my experience. When an immigrant comes to Holland, Michigan, this is what happened to me. I have no food, no legs, I have no hands, no eyes, no mouth. I don't know the language. I don't know how to drive in Holland, Michigan. I don't know the rules. I don't have a voice because I didn't know how to speak English. And also, Jose Angel Lopez Dominguez doesn't exist here. And it's really, really hard to get an ID in Holland, Michigan. Even though I've been married for 18 years with the love of my life, even though I have 2 girls who are Canadian and American, even though I've been living here for, I don't know, since 10 years, it was really hard to become a U.S. citizen. Lots of paper, lots of money, all these things. And, but I'm here by the grace of God and by the grace of those who helped me in Holland. They said, you need to learn English. Okay, let's learn English. Let's go to school, let's go to school. But I don't have identity. I need that identity. I need my name print in an ID. I need people to know me that way. That I'm not just undocumented, that I'm not just this Mexican who's trying to steal or rape or whatever they want to say. I'm not that person, okay? So I need my leg. I need to learn how to drive. So all these go back to an ID. Who are you and why you are here? And I want to contribute to this country. And I'm still alive, by the grace of God, with COVID-19 is making it hard. But also I'm here with an ID right now because somebody say we can go to Secretary of State. We can get a paper for you. We can, you can take ESL, LAUP, or in other places too, and other churches. There is a sympathy for this person who, for a lot of people, was just a Mexican or a rapist, and which is really hard. So anyway, I think every single day in Holland, Michigan, arrive a newcomer without a leg, without eyes, without identity, without a tongue to speak, without a voice. And if we don't make a little bit easier by giving them a face, an ID, it will be hard for them to succeed in this city. Who is renting this place? Show me your real name. My name is Angel Lopez Dominguez, but I cannot have you, I cannot put it in my rent application, my name. That's the challenge for my city, and that's what I want you to know. Who are you? I don't know how to tell you my story in your language, so I need somebody who help me to say, this man is good, this man is gonna be a good citizen. So we need that in Holland, Michigan. And I think churches are doing that. People like LAUP and Lighthouse, Immigrant Advocacy is doing that hard work. But the bureaucracy that we putting as a city to undocumented is painful, and it's really hard to get it. So sometimes it's easier just say, you know what, I'm Ramon Dominguez. but it's not me, okay? So we want to contribute, and people are coming and coming because you have a good, beautiful city. You have good people. You have a Christian people and not Christian people. You have all these people here wanting to do that. But it's very difficult if we don't have an ID, if we don't have a voice, if we don't have transportation, if we have so many roadblocks for immigrants who we are learning the English. So English is my fourth language. I want to tell you that I'm not stupid, but your language is very hard. And a lot of people from all over the country, from all over the world is coming to this country. And they are not stupid. They speak already different languages. And they are worthy of your sympathy. And as a Christian, my duty and my responsibility is to welcome the orphan, the widow, and the stranger. And that's what we do in a Third Reformed Church. The main problem this week for me was rental application. That was the main problem this week for me. And we have 7 families looking for a place to live in the city that need at least 9,000 units to live. If the U.S. citizens are having a hard time to get a rent application or buy a house, imagine those who have no identity that says Michigan. So that's my story, and I think it's this week we have those people repeating the same story. Just thank you for listening, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this. La paz de Dios esté con ustedes.
Igualmente.
Thank you, Senor. Thank you.
First and foremost, thank you for being here and your commitment and work to the organization. I really appreciate it. I know I've been a part of it since almost the inception, and I am really encouraged and admire everything that all of you do. But more importantly, I would like to thank everyone here, whether it's your organizations, individuals, or groups. I mean, that kind of just shows you the kind of community we have here in Holland. I don't represent an organization per se, but in many ways I do, as the only Latino school board member for the school district, for a school district that is predominantly majority students of color. So I'm just going to preface it with some things that maybe Esther touched on, but you know, our city of Holland is population at approximately 33,000. And of that, within the city is a Hispanic population of almost 25%. The City of Holland's school district, as we're known, is the only traditional public school district in the city. Now, we have some great other options here, charter schools, private schools, but Holland Public is the only one, like I said, is majority students of color. And in particular, of that, 40% of the student enrollment is Hispanic or Latino. So there are many things that are happening that are great. There are many challenges, and I think it's important to know that with sort of the numbers that they are, it's imperative that we, either as a community or as collectively with state groups like this, work to make sure that everything's being done impactfully. So some of the highlights that I've noticed on the school board, and I would argue that we're probably leaders in West Michigan in terms of this, is our focus on school improvement goal has been, for several years, has been around equity inclusion. We recently hired a director of equity inclusion whose primary focus is to look at curriculum, staffing, things like that, and offer recommendations not only to the school but to the Board of Trustees. Working with various organizations, professionals outside the district, be it volunteering, support services, things like that. Taking a real look at curriculum, instructional materials, and more importantly, doing these audits and surveys to make sure that, hey, it's reflective of our student body. Staff has been deliberate in ordering materials. There's monthly data review. That's not only about that's going on, but discipline practices and looking at a restorative approach versus expulsionary. With that being said, of course, there are many things that need to improve. And part of that is representation. Representation, as we know, is very important, whether it be in institutions or organizations that students in particular want to know that there are people that look like them that are in positions of influence, of power, of sort of that expectation of if they can do it, I can do it. And so looking at hiring practices, not so much the processes, but like taking that same sort of culturally relevant lens that we do with curriculum and teaching and incorporating it into our hiring. Cultural sort of awareness, looking at how families, and this was kind of like with any organization, it's kind of runs very structurally and business-like. How do we make that more informal to allow more families to engage in their students' education, be it volunteering or alternative maybe ways of even learning. And that's really it. I'm going to cut this off because I know it's almost taco time, but I am available afterward for any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Please feel free to step up, state your name, name of the organization, and your goal, mission, vision, values, and...
Of course. My name is Felipe Ramirez, and I've been in this community since 1970. I arrived here in March 1970. Great community, no doubt. I have seen many, many changes. And at this point, I'm really proud to see all of you, the LLEAD Michigan Board of Directors. Thank you for all your contributions, not to the community, but to the state of Michigan and also the community. The changes that I have seen in Holland, they have been some optimistic changes, some pessimistic changes. What I see, and my friend here, Leroy, invited me via email. Thank you, Leroy. Of course, when I came to this community, I didn't speak the language. The language that I spoke, it was Spanish, and I learned it at the University of Veracruz. I am originally from the city of Veracruz, a city port. And the first questions that I had from some people, do they have electricity? Well, as a matter of fact, yes, we do. I used to work for the Federal Commission of Electricity in Mexico, which we are big there. I was a draftman. I did electrical drafting. Do they have water? Oh my God. These questions, they come into place that it's amazing how you come to this community and they think you come out of a cave, Now, these things that you have placed here, unlawful discrimination, lack of job opportunities, unfair employment practices, they existed in 1970 and prior to 1970, and still are here, alive. Now, I thank you again for moving forward and to resolving these kind of issues, It's great. I know a great organization that I work with shortly with Yara, LAUP. They've been in existence for a long time here. Leroy also worked very hard in that organization, and they have resolved a lot of problems in this community. But guess what? The problems keep flourishing. It's around. We're not reinventing the wheel, per se. I've been contributing to these communities in 1970. I've done many things that I invested 23 years as a volunteer firefighter in this community. Hurt a couple times, but I felt good. I gave something of me to the community. Yes, it is time for the community and the state of Michigan to recognize those that arrive to the community, no matter where they come from. And you mentioned that there are 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and judiciary. Judges, where are they? Hispanic judges, I don't see them. Can we find one? No. It's time to really move forward in many areas. And also, this area is heavily industrial. And I've been knocking at the doors to many industries around here for them to open the doors for the young people, not to work in the factories. Guess where the money is in the future of many organizations? Sales. Do you find in industries Hispanic of other ethnicities in sales? No, you don't. Yes, we can find sales in real estate or selling cars. We got plenty, there. But when it comes to the industry, the salesmen or sales ladies, sales women don't exist hardly at all. You can check the statistics. But anyway, thank you again for being there and moving this forward. I don't have anything else to say. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the audience who would like to participate? Thank you very much for being here today. Al?
That, I believe, concludes our agenda. Yes, Leroy.
I'm just gonna be a little selfish here, but
Mhm.
no, being a Holland resident, we started LLEAD a while back here in Holland. Sylvia has been here since the beginning. We're going about 7, 8 years now or something like that. And Tim as well. But I just want to take the opportunity to invite you to become a part of the local chapter here in Holland. I'm going to give you my card, not to sell you a house, but just to have you my my contact information, because I want to get you guys involved with LLEAD so we can work together and at least have discussions and try to figure out some of the solutions to the problems that we talked about today here locally. And this way we're able to take it to a grander, a larger level too. So just want to thank you guys again, and thank you, Felipe, for helping me out all the time, and everybody else here too. So I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys soon.
One last public comment that I received over email from Lighthouse Immigrant Advocates, Sarah Yor van Oosterhout, and was supposed to be here today and was unable to attend. She's very busy working with the Afghan refugee resettlement planning for the community. But I just wanted to tell you that they are getting ready to have their 6th anniversary. So here are some of the comments that she has provided. Lighthouse Immigration Advocates has grown. 2 full-time attorneys, 2 full-time legal reps, an outreach program coordinator, a development coordinator, and an executive director. She's anticipating the addition of another legal assistant and an administrative assistant in early 2022. They continue to provide a large amount of family unification and reunification services to the Latinx community. They are also engaged in citizenship work, both in collaboration with other agencies and taking leadership at the office. The DACA work continues, although initial DACA applications are on hold thanks to a Texas court order, but please keep sending these cases our way. They did launch a remote renewal clinic last year, which continues to be extremely useful tool for immigrants across the state who need to renew work permits. Whether it be work permits, DACA, and green cards, they continue to receive them. They're continuing to partner with DHHS to advocate for COVID vaccines and also providing legal clinics together with vaccine clinics. I think that's very powerful that people, as many of you know, our immigrant community is very busy with limited time and access to be able to bring that resource at the same time they're doing their legal work is amazing. They are looking for partnerships with area businesses, manufacturers, and corporations who would like to partner with LIA in an effort to help immigrant laborers maintain immigration status. Many employers end up dismissing employees when their status expires. This creates disruption in production and labor, as it also upsets stability for individual employees and families. They are looking for ways to better anticipate status expiration dates and renew these documents before they expire so that employees can stay in valid employment status and don't disrupt talent retention in our community. We know this is a very real issue for our community. Our unemployment is low and our need is high. Our worker need is high. So the majority of their Latinx clients are coming from Mexico, and again, if you're not familiar with Lighthouse Immigrant Advocates, I can tell you that when Sarah first came to the community, she was the executive director, she was the attorney, and I remember the first year that we gave her, that she started her business, this service for our community, she received a social justice award, and I remember one of the things that she said was, you know, she's passionate about this work, and she'd hope that, you know, she's kind of concerned about, my parents want me to make sure that I pay off my student loans, so I know that Sarah is giving her heart and soul to our Latinx community, and as you can see, very supportive of all people from all parts of the world as she continues to work with Afghani refugees. So I applaud the work that she does, and just wanted to share that comment from Sarah Yor Van Ousterhout at Lighthouse Immigrant Advocates. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. The last 10 minutes, 12 minutes, board, do you have any comments or?
Yeah, I'll keep it short.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, it's an honor to really hear all the wonderful things that you guys have been doing here in Holland, Michigan. I respect the idea of my past with my grandpa, my grandma, my dad, everybody. I respect that. But my interest is what's going to happen in the future. What's going to happen in the future to some of the bright kids that we are now having up here in the state of Michigan, graduating, going to college, being people of tomorrow, making decisions of tomorrow, especially for our people, especially being at the table. I'm very honored what you guys are doing. We've been working very hard in Saginaw to do the same thing, education being a priority. And I'm very honored to let you know that we had a chance to meet with the Lieutenant Governor. How many people here have met the Lieutenant Governor? Raise your hand. How about the Governor? Esther, what I'm going to do after the year, I like to, because I met with the Lieutenant Governor about a month ago, and he said, Bobby, whenever you need me again, I'll be there for you. I would like to bring, after the year, the Lieutenant Governor to meet some of these fine people who are doing a great job at moving forward with the education and employment, whatever. But I think that the Lieutenant Governor, along with the Governor, needs to hear that we're not going backwards, we're going forwards. And what I heard today, I just have to give you a compliment. The idea is that this is not no game no more. What happened with the epidemic here, after 18 years of being imprisoned by this virus, we need to start getting back on course. And our course is our children of tomorrow. So Mr. Chair, if that could happen right after the year, I will talk to the Lieutenant Governor if we can come back here after the year to meet him.
Let's make it happen, yeah.
Yep,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Bobby.
We'll make space and time.
Yeah. Guillermo, you had something?
Yes, Al, thank you. And like Bobby said, thank you very much, all of you, for being here. I'll just give you a little example of when you have no identity. It happened to me, well, actually to my mom, because she was so afraid that we didn't have an identity that I wasn't able to play Little League with the Lions Club from West Laco, Texas. You know, she couldn't send me because all we had was my Mexican certificate of birth. So, you know, we had no identity. But things got better, and we're here. So thank you for sharing that brought that thought from long time ago. So thank you for that. But I do have a question for Doctora Montemayor. You know, one of the things that the commission, I believe, was founded was to keep track of bills and legislation, and the commission to review it, to analyze it, and see what impact it would have on the Latino community. You just got there. I understand that. And I would encourage you to really emphasize that, because if anything else, you know, legislation is really what trumps anything. Excuse the word, but you know, it's very important, and I would like to see that the commission really spend some time doing that kind of work, because it is very important, and we haven't done that, to my knowledge, in some time. And as you know, there are bills coming up that are very detrimental not only to Latinos but to many other people, and certainly in terms of voting. So whether they make it or not, it's another story, but they're talking about it and doing stuff with that. So I guess it was not a question, I guess it was a statement.
Well, no, I'll just say that the commission has an advocacy committee, and the advocacy committee, you all probably obviously know Juan Marines is one of the members of the advocacy committee, and I think the members of that particular committee are very concerned with a lot of the policy issues and the legislative agenda, and you know, a lot of bills that are coming up. I know that this was presented to me when I applied for the position, so I know that it's at the heart of the present commission's agenda. And I know that, you know, we're going to be working on strategic planning in the next month, and I know that that's on the top of the docket. So yes, I absolutely agree with you.
Thank you.
We have one last public comment from a community business. So I'd like to invite Alessandro Lozano. Come on up.
Pásale.
Pasa.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Mi nombre es Alonso Salinas. Tengo más de 40 años de vivir aquí en Holland, Michigan. Y pues soy empresario. Tengo un restaurante que se llama Margaritas. Y nos establecimos en el año 1994 al lado oeste de la ciudad. Y pues con la instrucción de nuestros padres nos enseñaron a luchar y trabajar arduamente para conseguir lo que uno siempre en la vida quiere, que es progresar. Y pero con los tiempos que hemos visto últimamente aquí en los tiempos de COVID, pues nosotros, tal como muchas personas en estos últimos 2 años, hemos visto algún tipo de pérdida, fuera que sea financieramente. Para nosotros personalmente fue la pérdida de mis padres al principios de año. Fallecieron los dos. Y pues solamente quería decirles que pues seguimos luchando para dejar esta memoria y el honor en ellos, que siempre hubieran querido que nosotros siguiéramos en sus pasos. junto con nuestros familiares que todavía están, que es mi hermana Esmeralda y mis hermanos José Luis y Javier. Y con la ayuda de Dios, pues seguimos adelante, luchando. Y esta comunidad siempre ha sido muy bonita con nosotros. Por eso, precisamente, también nosotros siempre, de alguna manera u otra, hemos buscado la manera de regresar nuestros servicios a la comunidad. Y siempre buscamos la forma de participar con grupos en la comunidad que son sin fines de lucro, también con las iglesias, con las escuelas, y pues les puedo decir que ha sido de una gran bendición para nosotros. Es lo que quiero decir.
Gracias,
Gracias,
Alfonso.
hermano.
Te acompañamos en tus sentimientos.
Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. Thank you very, very much. And with that, no? What?
No, because I still have
Oh, okay.
a question.
Sure, okay. Dale.
Or a comment. Actually, I do want to remind those that are here from organizations to please, if we can get your contact information, to be able to include you in our statewide directory. I'll be right here. So if we can have that, I think it's really important, especially because the western side of the state always seems so removed from Lansing. It's so removed from Detroit. And we need to represent these voices as well. So thank you, and also to remind you to please go on to the LEAD website, LLEAD.org, because on there we have a resource that is managed by the crisis response team to look at incidents that are reported of hate crimes and bias incidents, actually. So please, if you feel or have a question as to whether you have or someone else that you know has been targeted because of race, in particular ethnicity, gender, because they're, Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina, Mexican-American, Venezolano, please know that these are incidents that we have worked with and have worked to resolve. Everything from children in schools to employment, issues in the community. These are the areas that we're interested in making sure that we're not being treated differently just because of who we are, what we speak, and where we live. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. Esther, would you happen to have the contact information for the people that presented? Or?
Yes, I have your contact information if you presented and you sent your information to me. Leroy, I think you invited some individuals, and Leroy will have that information as well for the individuals he invited. Again, I just want to thank everyone for being here today. We do have some food available, some taquitos, compliments of margaritas, and some refreshments. So please feel free to stay and interact. We'd love to talk to you and learn about what you're doing, and hopefully you'll learn about us as well. Once we get your information, we will send the LEAD information out to you.
Thank you, Esther. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Bobby?
Support.
Esther, any discussion? Anything else? Okay. All ayes?
Yes.
Aye, yes.
All nays? Adjourn. Thank you. Thank you.